All right, all right, all right. Well, it's your boy, the controversial counselor. It's just me tonight. I wanted to come on and just, do something different. I think I'm going to start having something called counselors' concerns. And some things are just been alarming. And what I wanted to cover tonight is um, girl drama. Yeah, that's right, girl drama. Can everybody hear me? Want to make sure everything is set up. Usually, I have a panel, and with that we have a test run, so it's just me. So I'm hoping everybody can hear me. So if you can, thumbs up or something. Let me know everything is good. So as far as that, I just certain things I wanted to come on and address girl drama because as many of you know, I'm a school counselor in middle school right now. I've been doing that maybe 9 years. And also, I worked at the high school level for like 8 years, at the college level for 10 years, elementary 1 year. So, seen a lot, done a lot, been involved in a lot. But one of the things, as we get near the summer break, I just know it's important. And I wanted to talk about navigating ways to kind of reduce the drama because a lot of things that go on in the school, don't get me wrong, boys get into it and stuff like that, but the girl drama is usually nonstop, nonstop. And coming out of the pandemic, it's definitely been it's been different because we have to think about we have to think about that some of these kids like, and I'm not even going to look on the elementary level. I'm going to think about as far as even middle school. Some of the kids, this is really their first full year in middle school. During the pandemic, some of the kids started high school during that time. So their social skills is kind of off. I see Angela said it's crazy. No girl drama here. So you can hear me, Angela. That's all that matters. You can hear me. You said girl drama could be at any age. Yeah, it can be at any age. And it usually starts like mainly third, fourth, fifth grade when they get into those the secondary level grades. So it does start right there. We can go into that, but I really wanted to talk about like the navigation of how to deal with some of this stuff because my concern is it's getting hot, hella hot, like 90 degrees already, and I know once it get hot, kids are out playing in the summertime in their community because usually a lot of the stuff happens in the neighborhood communities, and a lot of stuff that I even see is kind of alarming, and especially during this time and age, time and the situation that we're going through. My concern again, and I've talked about this before for the young ladies. I don't like to see young teenagers walking with two or three, and it's getting dark outside, and they're just like roaming and stuff like that. It's not a good look. And one of the things is we got a lot of weird damn people that like to lurk around. And and I always think about when you see them white vans, and because also most of the time when you have those alerts or stuff come through your phone about somebody missing, it's usually like girls. It's usually like girls. So mothers, parents, fathers, please, please be mindful. I know sometimes they get on your nerves. It's back in our day, we were told to go outside. We traveled in packs, and we would be all right. But now it's different. is different. So make sure that you don't have them blocks and blocks away um, when it's dark outside. So that's alarming to me because I know again I damn sure don't want to see anybody kid missing because that's heartbreaking, and usually after a while they don't return. But let's look at some of the ways to navigate through drama. And one of the things, being a low drama role model, basically meaning they're not going to learn or do better if you're, and I'm speaking to mothers right now, and we've talked about in my platform, talked about little boys, black boys, and all that stuff right now. So I don't want to put the emphasis on that, but I know that typically, um, you know, young ladies, their first connection it may be their mothers. Of course, the fathers love them and stuff like that, but a lot of the teaching them how to be a woman comes from the mother. So you have to be a low drama role model, meaning you can't be one that's gossiping about the neighbors or coworkers and stuff like that, and they're actually listening. Because again, back in our days, when adults talk or if they was on the phone, we had to go somewhere. We had we couldn't get a drink of water and be sitting there sipping it and taking too long. We had to go outside when adults spoke. But I don't know if that's so the case nowadays. Also, people, please like and share this video and please subscribe to my channel, The Controversial Counselor. Need to get those numbers up. So you have to practice restraint in what you say around them, because if they see mom doing it, then they think it's okay to gossip, talk shit about people, or do whatever. And I see it every day. So be mindful of that. Be mindful. Back in the days, people were mindful, but I'm not saying everything that happened back in the days was right, but some of it was. Uh, so that's one of the things. You have to be the calm to their storm, and don't bring a lot of drama to the equation. Now, if somebody wants to join, the link is in the chat. It's up above. You probably have to stroll up, or I could place it again. Another one, model healthy communication. So I'm not planning on being here too long. It ain't gonna be no 3 hour marathon, because when you have more people in the panel, we get at it on Monday nights. That's like the granddaddy of them all. So I'm okay with that on Monday nights. I just wanted to maybe pop in throughout the weekend, just certain concerns I may have um, during um, during the week. So model healthy communication. If you and Melvin, and y'all know Melvin, the dad, the stepdad, the boyfriend, uh, and y'all argue and fight and carry on, and usually nothing happens. Y'all argue, fight, and then act like nothing matters. Why don't you think that they're going to go to school and demonstrate the same type of actions? They're going to say it's okay. My mom, my stepdad, my mom's boyfriend, they fight and get at it all the time. This is how we handle stuff. This is what we do. So you got to be mindful of that. And I know we're all emotional creatures. We just can't say it's women. Some of us guys, I don't know. We shit, it might be 50-50 nowadays. It didn't used to be, but it's a lot of people built differently. See, somebody said exactly, because we got whoopings because we had our own thoughts. Yeah, I mean, and I know we're going with that. You're going with that, and not, like I said, not everything was right back in the days, but a whole lot of it wasn't wrong. So you should be able to take some of it and instill and then revamp or retweak certain things, because this shit right here we going through, it's a battle. And Willie said it, uh, intimidate what they see, and that's true. If they see it, they're gonna do it. So you think about that healthy communication. They're gonna go out, and that's how they're gonna respond to teachers. That's how they're gonna deal with conflict, and it's so true. When I talk to parents, I understand why they behave that way. So you got to model healthy communication. You got to, I mean, there's not going to be in every relationship peaches and creams, like everything is perfect. But sometimes you got to realize time and space and situations, like this is not a good time for that. But I know when you're in the heightened of your emotions, shit just come out. He said balance is needed. Yes, indeed, Shaughnessy. Reality shows, yeah, that plays a big part. Somebody said, please share the live stream, support my cousin. Thank you, thank you, family. Appreciate you, cousin. So model healthy communication. That's vital. Talk about drama. You know your kid better than anybody. You can look in their face and know that something is wrong with them, or they're off, or they come home, they may be, first thing they go to, drop their book bag in the middle of whatever, go to the refrigerator, start eating. But if it's a day that they don't do that and they go to their room and they're not their normal self, it's okay to talk about it. You want them to know and feel comfortable that they can share anything with you. You're there to support them. You're their biggest cheerleader. Make them feel, validated and feel their self worth. Like, okay, I'm good. Mom's just on my side. And of course, I'll probably have. We'll talk about the dad role, and we talk about that in our Monday night shows too. But make sure that they know that you're there for them, because you'll be surprised. Like some of the information that I get, I'll be like, I'm like, wow, like for real. So sometimes they don't feel comfortable sharing certain things, and they seek out other adults, and that's the crazy thing about all of this technology and stuff. You just never know who they're reaching out to unless monitor everything uh, real closely. And sometimes we don't have the time, and we believe we could trust in our kids, but we never know who's in their ear or not. So let them know that you're there for them, and talk about the drama, because granted, I'm sure they're going to come home every day with some drama. It's never ended. One of the things also, you want to teach the importance of kindness uh, over winning. And that's pretty much saving face. There's never a winner in an argument. Never. Even though some of us feel like, yeah, I even as adults, yeah, I got her ass. Yeah, I got his ass. I roasted him. We say that word, roasted him. But truth be told, unless you're a stone cold blood killer and you don't have no compassion, typically you may feel bad about certain things that you have said. And you feel like shit afterwards. Like, I probably shouldn't have went there, but I did. We got caught up there. My guards was up, so we went at it. There's never a winner. So children need to be taught that, like, you can roast, you can crack. And I always tell them, and sometimes they always say, "Oh, I was just joking," and I always have to tell them it's never a joke when the other person's not joking with you. So how did you think you made that person feel during that time? And then I think once they focus and reflect on it, they typically end up saying, man, they probably didn't feel too good, and they may be at that point to say, "I want to apologize." Because remember, kids, they still have a lot of influence, and if you have someone, if you're someone that can influence them, you can kind of change the tide. You could take a bad situation to a good situation because they believe in what you say. So as mothers, um, aunts, grandmothers, people like that who may have guardianship, because we know that there's a lot of that too. Their aunts are raising some of the children and grandparents. So they're gonna listen to you. They'll listen and they'll believe in your words. So they have to understand that it's not always about winning. It's about sometimes having compassion for someone else. Sometimes you got to walk away and save face and understand, like, listen, I'm not even about to do that. I'm, and as they say, I'm not about this life or whatever the case is, because they've been schooled on that. Let me see some of the comments. Cousin Chanel says, so true. We have to continue to give them support. We have to keep talking to them with love. And that's true. It's about love and letting them know, because if not, one of the things I always say to them, like, you're an adult longer than you are a kid unless something happens to you. So everything is leading up to adulthood. Have your fun as a kid, because a lot of times you have some kids that say, man, I can't wait till I turn 18 so I can move out from my parents' house because they get on my nerves. So you don't want that. What you really want is that 4 year extension, maybe go to college or even get extended, because maybe you went to community college, maybe you went to trade school, and your parents say, I got room here. There's no need. Of course, they're not going to have you having different people running in and out of their house. I guess that's the one of the non-luxuries of being at home during that age. Because if you was in college, parents only know what you share with them. But if you're trying to be on the right path to save money, to have structure, then there's no need to run out. But you got to be doing something. And I think that's the key, to kind of rear them to doing something. Um, let's see what else. No, I have my notes. You know that. Um, One of the other things is react carefully to upsetting girl drama. One of the things is, a lot of times the way parents respond to the girl drama is they automatically assume that their child is right. So they text them something and they're all over it. Shit, they didn't um, left the job, came up there, really without knowing the situation. That's why I think the great Stephen Covey said always, diagnose before you prescribe. Listen, find out all the details before you come up with your solution. You don't want to be someone that's going to run off your job every time. Like, if they're in immediate danger, that's something different. And I know it's probably easy to say, uh, if they text you and say, oh, these girls are supposed to jump me, or whatever the case is, and you feel like, okay, I got to get up there, I got to help them out. But sometimes it's just a matter of saying, let me call the administrator, let me call Mr. Glover, let me call a counselor and see what's going on. Because trust me, a lot of times they know if they get into a fight at school, it's only going to last a couple minutes and we're going to be all over it. It's the fights at the park and things like that in the neighborhood that can go on and on for a long time. Usually, a fight at school is just because they got the big crowd, they got the updated footage, the cameras and stuff, and they know that it gets filmed. They're gonna get a lot of likes and shares and stuff. It's a big show. because usually these fights, typically it's a build up to it, like promotion. It's not like it happens like right then and there. Not all, but a great deal of them is it's been a build up. Chanel said, yes, community beefs last longer. Yeah, and usually those type of beefs is parents, they're fighting, aunts, and all that stuff. And some of the stuff I'd be like, unreal. Like, I didn't have situations where parents jumped out the car and their child might have pointed out, there that person goes right there. There she go right there. How you a grown ass person like 30 some 40 trying to fight 11, 12-year old? And I know what you're gonna say. Well, I mean, they were supposed to jump my daughter and all that stuff. But sometimes you got to think about yourself too, because remember, we still have to live and take care of them. So we have to be conscious of the decisions that we make. You know, you don't want to be no nurse that's making 90, 100, 110, $120,000 and you got some child abuse thing on because you jumped out and you and your daughter jumped another girl because they were supposed to jump your daughter. But stuff like that happens. Gotta be gotta be mindful of that. So assess the situation, find out like, okay, can you go somewhere to call me so I can figure this out? You just because this a lot of times I see parents come running in, they just left work, just behind the text, mom, come get me. Um, they supposed to jump me without even knowing the players in it. Then they might contact me and I might tell them, you ain't got to worry about it. It's just talk. I'm pull them other individuals in and guarantee you ain't nothing gonna happen. They're not even like that. So just be mindful of that, the way you react. Also, you want to talk about real friendships. Um, talk about that often because, like I always tell my students, I was like, y'all have no loyalty in your friendships, none whatsoever. And a lot of it I know has to do with the transient population of people coming and going in neighborhoods and not being there for a long time. So you don't have that ability to have that community bond. Because I could say for myself, growing up, I remember living in one house from probably the age of 5 to like 15. So that was 10 solid years. And then when we left, my grandmother still lived on that street. So we still came by there frequently. Then we moved kind of to the, I won't say the projects, but it was a complex uh, projects, whatever the case is. And kind of stayed there for when I was 15 till up until like, 24. So you establish a lot of strong connections in that time. That's probably not the case now, and I've talked about this on Monday nights. A lot of times we live on streets and we may not even know people names or children's name. We didn't have to worry about that back in the days. There were people that community police that they knew the kids, they knew the mothers, knew the fathers, so they was all on top of it. Now, not so the case, which sometimes is scary. And I can't say I'm the politician that go around and when somebody moves in the neighborhood, like, hey, I'm David, such and such, how you doing? I could be a little jerk too. I just mind my business, but if it came down to it, I'm just not the one that's going to always, go and approach people. I'm kind of laid back. Like I always say, a counterpuncher. I feed off of other people's energy. And I know that's something that I always, even when I have interviews, I say I have to work on because I'm not that assertive type to do that. And I think sometimes that's needed because, again, we live in communities that people are in and out. Now, some people, they may have a solid foundation on the street that the people own the homes and they been there for a while, and the kids get close to each other. So that's a great thing in that situation. So, but also you have to show them examples of, oh, me and such was friend. We've been friends for 40 years. We fell out. We got into it. Give them some examples. The times that y'all were mad at each other. But then when they look at it and say, wow, yeah, I was friends for 40 years. Like, man, the longest friendship I ever had was somebody. We were friends from the second to the fourth grade, but then she moved. But the great thing that they have is technology. So as long as somebody, if they move and is still in range, that they still can connect and still get together. So there's good and bad with technology. Typically, back in our days, when somebody moved, and I live in a small city, Niagara Falls. You will still see these people, but you wouldn't see them maybe on a regular basis. More than likely, you might have still went to the same school, but you wouldn't see them as often as you would. So that's the luxury of that. But I think when they see strong relationships and you're sharing that with them, and like, you know, giving them personal stories or talking about what makes a good friend and how can you tell a true friend, those things are helpful because sometimes they don't know. They don't know what makes a good friend. A lot of them, they're chasing the silver bullet. They chasing popularity, and that person may really just be using them and really not be a good friend. So they need to understand what friendship is about. And me, I'm one to say, you know, there's a lot of emphasis on academics, but I say it should be 50-50. Some of this stuff should be curriculum about friendship, social, and all that stuff because you can be smart as a damn whip. But if you don't got no social skills, you're not going to make it too far. If you can't get along with people, you get have a 99.99, but you get your first job and you never had to really interact and get along with people, but now you're working in a team, that's just not going to work. It's not going to work. So some of this stuff need to be built in the curriculum to start dealing with so people can be well balanced. Balance is the key. You can't be 90% academics and 10% social. You got to find a way to make sure that it balances out. Maybe 55-45, whatever the case is. Because schools were built for academics, but long as you have people there, there's a social component. And there's a social component at a job. There's a social component when you're out in the community going shopping. I mean, you have to be respectful and stuff like that. So this some of this stuff just don't make sense in its time. And don't get me wrong, and Brenda said so true. Balance is important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the national advocate for to change it. I mean, somebody could be, but uh, it's just it ain't right. It ain't working. But I'm gonna move on to the next point. Model humility and personal growth. Sometimes you got to teach them it's okay to be humble. Humble pie tastes pretty good sometimes. Sometimes you're wrong. But if they never see in the household that you apologize, because sometimes parents are all over kids and you're like, oh shit, I made a mistake. They was actually right. Do you have the ability or fortitude to apologize? Or do you say, shit, I'm grown. I ain't got to apologize to them. I do everything for them. Sometimes there's a certain thing called life space that they need to get in their space, and you have to be willing to be able to say, mommy was wrong. Dad, I was wrong. My bad. Not even my bad, because I hate that my bad. That's kind of dismissive. That's that old whatever type. Uh, and I don't think, also as we got older, we was taught like, never say that you're sorry. But a simple, I apologize with reasoning behind it. can go a long way to validate people's feelings. So sometimes they need to be taught that that's part of personal growth to be able to admit when they were wrong. And I oftentimes, when I'm dealing with the students, I always ask them, "Do you think you could do anything? You think you could have did anything different in this situation, or how did this make you feel?" And then the miracle question. So this is your friend. Now you're saying y'all done. Do you think your world would be better with or without them? Then they think about it and they say, "Well, we had a lot of good times. They make me laugh." And then they start thinking about the good times and they say, "It probably would be worse without them." So then I say, "So what's the point of this?" And then the light bulb goes off. So those type of conversations need to be had. Brenda said, "Forgive so you can be forgiven." Yes, indeed. Uh, Chanel said it was a unity back then. Yeah, it was definitely a unity. So forgive so you can be forgiven. So you have to teach them that it's okay to apologize when you're wrong. Sometimes their whole thing is they don't want to apologize in front of everybody. So sometimes, a little mediation might be set up that they can do it when it's only them. And as a counselor, we kind of handle that. But sometimes, parents, if it's in the community over the summertime, you may get together and say, "Listen, y'all two gonna get together, y'all gonna talk it out, and then, give them a little reward or something." Because sometimes that's just what we have to do. Even though some people feel like, "Well, I ain't about to do all that because they need to just do that shit, period." But sometimes you got to play the game. Just got to play the game. Sometimes it's not worth the fight to the pushback. So sometimes just and depending on the age too. So just think about that. We talked about a little while ago, practice forgiveness in your home because that's the first place of learning. If they understand that they live in a forgiving home and there's compassion, some of them you'll be able to tell when you have these mediations that okay, they kind of got caught up in emotions with their peers, but they're really a forgiving person. Make sure that you practice that at home, being forgiving. Like if people holding grudges and you got a whole household and nobody's talking to each other, everybody's doing their own thing, there's limited interaction. I mean, we already have to deal with that based on technology and cell phones and stuff. But these young ladies need to see that there's forgiveness at home. And I'm only focusing on the young ladies because today I had a doozy with mediations, and I'm like, man, it's gonna get wild because, and this is gonna be off. It's not off topic, but my concern over the summer months is they're out there, they're congregating, they're on social media. Most of them, the way camp prices is outrageous. That you know you can't afford to send them to camp. Some of them, if their father's not around, they may get to go spend time in another state or another area, whatever the case is. So, but if not, then they're with that hub of kids throughout, and there's going to be stuff, and usually that stuff filter back into the school to start off the year. Um, Chanel said they don't have outlets anymore. They don't. They don't have outlets. They don't have creativity like how we used to, and it's some of them just locked in on their gaming and their phones, and they think being in these group chats is an outlet, but really that's just a setup for more drama because they're waiting. We know how it is as adults. You have groups, and you have some people that come in a group and they can just destroy it, the dynamics, by some of the stuff that they say in posts. So just imagine on the kid level how that goes. So that's a tough one. But practicing forgiveness in your home, because if you're a dysfunctional home, you're going to be dysfunctional as soon as you step out the house, whether it's an adult on your workplace, as a kid going to school. So if they never see compassion, and it's always everybody going at their throats being cut throat, then more than likely there's going to be drama always brought to the schoolhouse. Teach empathy. That word is so powerful because it's basically, you know, there's a difference with sympathy and empathy. Sympathy, and I know most of you know, but some people may not know the difference. But sympathy is when you kind of feel sorry for someone. You feel sorry for them. You have sympathy for them. But empathy is to kind of feel with them, feel their pain, put yourself in their shoes to understand. So sometimes kids just don't have empathy, and they don't know how to feel what other people feel. Like, for example, if you're a parent, you have to teach them empathy, because one of the things they may, and I'm going to use this example. Say if your child gets her hair done every couple weeks, she's always laced with a nice hairstyle, always whatever things. You get good grades, you get a pair of sneakers every month or something. And they come into school, nice hairdo, laced with the foot game. Then you have somebody like, her hair ugly. That's ugly. That's an ugly style. Or them sneakers, they not even all that. And you hear that. And then the child goes home and tells you, I'm trying to think of a name. I don't want to say just no old ghetto name. I'm going to use my cousin name, Chanel. So Chanel said my hair was ugly. It wasn't all that. And them sneakers, they played out. But then as the child, she don't even get her hair done. Or she had these same pair of sneakers. She had these same rotating pair of sneakers, these two pair of sneakers since the beginning of the year. And now it's May. And she talking about me. As a parent, you don't want to respond and say, excuse my language, people. Oh, don't even pay attention to that bitch. Or she just jealous of you, or whatever the case is. Next time, say this to her. You might want to teach them on the level and say, when the last time, did she get her hair done often? No, she really don't. Do she look well kept? No. Did she get new clothes, new sneakers? No, not really. She's been kind of wearing the same thing. Actually, she repeat clothes a lot during the week. There's an opportunity to feel empathy, because you would teach your child, she's just basically jealous. She wish she was in your shoes and she's not. So she's going to make comments like that to kind of throw you off. And so that's why it's important for the parents not to get caught up in that. And all too often they do. So this is one of the reasons I wanted to, talk about this, to kind of reduce drama, to teach the child to say, okay, I'm looking at it. Yeah, she don't. She probably doesn't have much money as my mother gets, my father gets, or whatever the case is. Then I get help from my grandparents and my aunts and stuff buy me stuff. So she probably doesn't have great family support. In fact, I did hear that she is in foster care. So you already know what her angle is. But if you teach the child that's the angle, then they'll know to say, save face, and not even respond to it like that. So that was just one thing. Another one. I think I got one more, then we're going to get out of here. I just wanted to kind of talk about these things. And, like I said, my plan is to have these counselor concerns probably once, I ain't going to say once a week, it depends. But But it's going to be the summer months, so things are going to be lighting up. So I probably would do it more often. Don't overindulge in girl drama. Look for a balance. So all this stuff I'm trying to tie in, like, don't keep repeating the same story over and over, or asking your child what happened. Get the details, uh, and then start diagnosing it and look for other perspectives. Maybe look at that other party's perspective and say, and try to break that down. But if you keep looking at it from one lens, from your daughter's lens, you're going to kind of hype up the situation and make it worse when really you want to get to the point of schooling your daughter so she can move on from that point, and so she can see another side of the situation and say, yeah, that's right. Because you'll be amazed. You could tell when some kids, you're like, man, how old are you? Um, and I remember earlier in this year, I had a student, and when she would talk, I had stopped her in midstream of her sentence. I said, let me ask you something. And she like, yes, Mr. Glover. I was like, do you got a lot of older people in your family that you talk to? And she was like, yeah, actually I do. Like, I hang out with my grandmother, my aunts and stuff. I said, because you wise beyond your years. You got an old soul. Just the way that she was handling like conflict, I was like, so it just made me smile, and I was like, wow, like you could tell you've been schooled in this, and you know the right things to say, and you know her decisions was based on like being schooled from adults. Chanel said, redirecting your child. Yeah, redirection is always important. Like, okay, we're not going to keep focusing on that. Let's look at this. Redirect them, because at the end, the bottom line, you want to get to you want to get to a goal. You want to get to a place that we could say that this is over with. We're going to move forward, putting this behind. Because one of the things I always tell my students also, like, listen, your parents working, they out here grinding. They're trying to make a better life for you. The last thing as a parent wants is to be on the job and always have to be worried about getting a phone call about you being at risk, you being in danger for fighting. You're worried, you worried about getting off at the bus stop. That's a lot. And I think sometimes that the ones that have compassion and they understand it, it makes them kind of fall back on and like, yeah, you're right. Like, and sometimes it be situations where a parent just started a job. So they don't have the luxury, and maybe they've been waiting to get a job or this particular job, and they don't have the luxury just to hop up and leave the job, because if so, they're and I know if your kid was in serious danger, but a lot of times they're not in danger like that. If you let us know, school personnel, administration, that we'll figure it out. Whether we have to have a school resource officer ride, follow that bus behind, and make sure that they get home safe. So it's different measures that could happen. We just gotta, communicate. So you gotta learn to move on to different points. So pretty much that's really the basis of it. There could always be a part two of it. That was just a little snapshot of some of the things as we get ready to get towards these summer months. Because remember, the one summer there was a curfew when it was during the pandemic, and then last year people were still, I'm not about to be doing all that. Still wanted to be mindful, but I think now it's kind of full blown. They back out there. They about to be back out there. A lot of times, parents, we don't have summers off. Well, some people do. I work 12 months, but some parents, they work straight through, and they're off during their vacation time on their days off. So a lot of times kids have a lot of extra time on their hands, especially if they're young at the elementary age. But even then, they might be an older sibling that's kind of keeping an eye on them. or if they're going to grandma, granddad's house, or something like that. But for the most part, when the kid starts being 11, 12, 13, they can be home by themselves, and it opens up a door for a lot of stuff to happen. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that so people can kind of take a step back and say, yeah, those were some good points. Now, granted, ain't a lot of people on here. That's fine. There'll be replays and stuff like that. I'm just, trying to, put stuff out there and see. And some people may see it later. But I think it's valuable information to think about, because some of the stuff that's happening right now is just too much going on. You at work and they go into other people's houses. It's never a good deal to go to somebody's house to look for a beef or an altercation. You might be with a couple of your friends, but meanwhile, the person you're beefing with has a sister or brother that's, and you're in the seventh, eighth grade, and they got a sister or brother in the 10th or 11th grade, and you're like, oh, you come knocking on our door? Okay, we got you. And then again, like I said, some parents just don't give a damn. They'd be out there ready to fight kids. So we gotta school them, educate them more, but we got to be the example. So we have to be that low drama role model so that they can see that there is a calm to a storm. And my mom said this, my dad said this, my grandmother said handle stuff like that. And then if they work along with teachers and stuff like that, they'll be able to get through it. So that's just something we have to do. All right, gang. Like I said, I want to be on here too long. I want to thank the people who had tuned in. Thanks to people who participated in the chat. Thanks Chanel, family Brenda. I think Shaughnessy said something. And, Willie, thank you all. Please, again, like and share the video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. And Monday nights is usually I have a whole panel full, and we talk about day-to-day situations, and we come on at 9, and it's been times we'll go on to like 12, 1. Maybe ain't the best thing, but sometimes when you have the ability to have uh, good conversation with adults and you're tackling courageous conversations, the conversations just don't end. But I want to also start throwing in some other concerns that I might have, and it may just be me. But they're more than people are more than welcome to join um, this platform as well. So that's pretty much all I have. Thank you all for joining. Let me read Brenda's comment. I once was a teacher assistant for special ed, and the class was making fun of a young man because he not well kept. As them, I take out a mirror and ask, why do you think you look so good? I later explained God made them unique. So bring whatever you think would help to do better. 3 days later, they brought shirts, a belt. They learned to share and to love him. And that's what it's all about. And that's a great example, Brenda. Sometimes if you're in a role to teach them, to give them examples, they form that compassion, and they say to themselves, and that was like that dealt with empathy, because then they start empathizing with him and say, man, he don't have it. So they'll be an advocate for him, and they'll be a champion for him. So he'll he'll be able to go on, and he'll know this. He'll feel more. I'm sure he felt more comfortable because he had people rally around him, and that was a great example. And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do, because we have to show better mankind to each other. We can't, as parents, be the one being the ringleaders of the drama, then out there fighting in the community and stuff. Because what is that really teaching them? And eventually, somebody is going to get seriously hurt, and it'll really be behind nothing. So we have to keep pushing forward, being great examples, doing what we do, but also looking at every aspect. job wise, everything, like your livelihood, everything, to make sure that they have a sound upbringing. Angela said positive reinforcement. That's it. Positive reinforcement. You have to. You have to reinforce stuff, but it has to be like in the positive nature. And sometimes you will go old school and let them know. And always, that's KYP. Know your personnel. Some teachers, me as a counselor, sometimes I have to go non-traditional with certain students, but I have a relationship with those students and I know that they can take it. So I have to give them a different message. Sometimes you have to do that with your children because you may have some that's kind of a little nerdy, quirky, and all that. Then you may have some that you may say, okay, they're built for this. I'm going to have to deliver this message like that. It's the same message, but maybe a different tone or a different follow up or reinforcement with it. So it's all good. Uh, Chanel said, building a great rapport. That's what it's about. Building that rapport, knowing your personnel, and trying to get through it because we can't keep on with this pace of fighting and carrying on and parents fighting because there's too much violence in this world and we have to come together, especially in our community. Us as blacks, we have to come together because it's a war out here, man. It's getting real treacherous. So the last thing we need to have is division amongst ourselves, our families, and stuff like that. People better wake up because people are also dying at a younger age too. Stress kills at any levels. So people, let's just be mindful of that. These were just a few conversation pieces that I want to talk about. Hopefully, we'll get into more. If y'all have any suggestions, whatever concerns, send them to me inbox, and we'll talk. And like I said, this ain't the big show like on Monday nights. This was just me coming individually. And y'all know I'm a man of few words, but I felt like it was a need based on some of the activity I seen today and a couple mediations I had. And I'm like, man, this could go all wrong real fast. And we just have to be conscious and just push forward. Nobody has all the answers, but if we work together and bring some of our answers together, it'll build a better place, I do believe. So, with that said, well, thanks for coming on and sharing. Oh, no problem. And again, please subscribe, please like and share the video, and everybody be safe. Um, be mindful what's going on, paying attention, and just be attentive to everything. If something looks off and it's not normal, look into it, and let's just keep moving forward. And wish everybody a productive and safe time for the rest of the week, and have a great weekend. So we out. I'm out. Thank you all. And like I said, if you have any questions or concerns, please inbox me. Or if you got any other topics you want to discuss, then either I could do it in this setting, or maybe sometimes bring it to the panel. So it all depends. But I appreciate you all. Brenda, thanks for joining. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. And like I said, please subscribe and look out on Monday nights as well. All right, good people. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe, be great, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.